Well, good evening, everybody. It's me, Mitch. Monday instead of Tuesday. How's everybody doing? How especially are you all doing in Florida here? Have you not been sleeping well like I haven't? Are you nervous like I am? Uncertain? Been watching the chat. A lot of you here from Florida. Be mad over there in Tampa. Mark Booth from just south of me here. And we are definitely all nervous. I decided at the last minute. I didn't want to go a week without a live stream. I may have been able to get one off tomorrow night or not. I don't have any idea whether we're going to be getting big thunderstormy feeder bands through here, but today the weather has just been very light rain and overcast and no problems, no wind of any magnitude, just a breeze. So I said, well, we'll do it on Monday night. I don't know if Ken Berry did his live stream tonight, but he's usually done by 8 o'clock. So I don't think I'm stepping on him. Not that he'd notice. I don't know if he'd notice a drop in his crowd, but we're a militant little bunch of carnivores over here, and we make a dent, but not that much of a dent. So it's good to see you all, and look at all the people that are coming in. I was wondering if anybody'd find it here on Monday, but I guess YouTube did an okay job of getting the word out. Thank you. Thank you, YouTube. Good for you. Maybe you guys like Monday night better than Tuesday night. If you do, let me know. If Monday night is a better night for me to do this, I have no special allegiance to Tuesday night. I would be just as happy to do it on Monday night. I do one on Saturday. Normally wait 3 days till Tuesday, so I would wait 2 days till Monday, and then 3 days till Thursday. Same difference, still 3 a week. So let me know. Put it in the chat. If you think you like Monday better, more convenient for you, maybe a better time. Who knows? Just throwing it out there. So it appears, and I've been watching way too much of Fox Weather Channel, and I should stop that. I should only watch at 5 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 11 o'clock at night. Those are when the National Weather Service updates the track. I'm absolutely astonished at the speed of this thing. But at this point in time, it's also very small. When they're small like that, they can wind up like a tornado almost. But the forecast is calling for it to slow down some. Not that it's going to slow down, I think, any meaningful amount. Well, it will be meaningful compared to a 180 mile an hour storm hitting the coast. But they're talking about 125 miles an hour now, which is a Cat 3, which is still no, believe me, no picnic. And the only good news for me and those of us on the East Coast is that they're only forecasting it to be a Category 1 over here. And I've been through a number of Category 1 storms. They're no picnic either, but they don't lift houses up and carry them away in most cases. I've made my plans, and my plan is to have no plan, not until at least Wednesday, sometime on Wednesday, because my plans totally determine on the fine little changes in both speed and track that this thing makes. If it goes to the north of me, it'll be much better here. If it goes to the north of Tampa, it'll be much worse for Tampa. If it goes to the south of me by only a little bit, it'll be a lot worse for me because of the quadrants. And I'm sure right now you know about these storms, and you know that there are different quadrants in these storms. It's sometimes people refer to them as the northeast side, the northwest side, but that's misleading. It's not anything to do with the magnetic direction relative to true north. It's a quadrant, like a clock has a quadrant. One quadrant is from noon to 3. That would be what they call the northeast quadrant. Southeast quadrant would be from 3 to 6, and like that. The worst place to be on a storm is in the northeast, the front right quadrant, because those feeder bands are coming. Don't I look like a weatherman? And the feeder bands are coming in and they're going like that. The feeder bands come in from the north and from the front side of the storm. The storm is approaching this way, and the feeder bands wrap around in front of it. And that's where you get the worst weather. Plus, you got the speed of the storm, and it's added to the speed of the wind. So if you've got 100-mile-an-hour winds going around the storm, and the storm is moving 10 miles an hour forward, then anywhere on the right side of the storm, since it's going counterclockwise, those winds are going to be a combination of both the wind movement and the storm movement. So it's going to be 110 miles an hour. On the other side of the storm, it's going to be 90 miles an hour. So like an airplane flying into a headwind or with a tailwind. And that makes a big difference in the wind damage that we might get. And this thing, even over here on the East Coast, could go either way. It could take a roof off the house, down a little lesser, might tear up a screen enclosure, carport. I've survived with my house, even though they call it a mobile home. It's really not a mobile home. It's a modular home, and it's built like a house, not like a trailer. It's not designed to be towed around on the road. It's trucked in, and then they set it on a foundation, and it doesn't ever move again. I've been here through Category 1 storms and had no damage. And that's one thing I worry about. It's my house. It's my home. It's going to be here. I have everything in here. My life is in here. That's it. All my stuff, all my memories, all my reminders of my past. And as you get older, it seems like you accumulate more stuff. Even though I try to minimalize, there is stuff that has sentimental value. You just can't throw it away. And leaving it behind if you have to evacuate, especially if you're facing something like the people in Tampa are facing, knowing that they have a pretty good chance of not having a house, especially if you're subject to a storm surge. And if they get a 15 to 20 foot storm surge, I'm sorry, that's not survivable. That's crazy biblical flooding kind of stuff. And the only choice those poor people have is to evacuate inland, far enough inland and in a substantial enough structure where the wind won't blow them down and the floodwaters from the Gulf won't get to them. You don't have to go real far inland, but yeah, you do have to go inland. I've gotten a tremendous number of invitations. It's been great. I've gotten so many well wishes from all of you, and God, I thank you so much for that. I've had invitations. Mitch, you can come stay with me. I just read one from Chicago, and I said, that's great. How the hell would I get to Chicago now? I couldn't probably even get to the interstate from here. I'd probably be waiting 2 hours at the entrance just to wait for the lights to keep changing. That's a problem in Florida. We've got too many people. We've got too many people. Every hotel room in the entire state is booked. They're telling everybody to evacuate. Evacuate to where? This storm is going to cover the entire state. It's going to do some kind of damage or inconvenience no matter where you go. Sometimes it's better if you're not worried about a storm surge, which is the primary deadly thing. Stay home, hide under the bed. Climb in your bathtub and pull a mattress over your head when it gets real bad. That's what the people did that survived Hurricane Andrew, which was a Category 5. And if you remember the pictures, it looked like a tornado went through there. That whole part of town was just leveled from that kind of wind. Hoping it's going to slow down. I don't want to say I'm hoping it goes in which direction one way or the other, because no matter which direction it goes in, it's going to help some people and make it better, and it's going to hurt some people and make it worse. And I don't, of course, don't wish that on anybody. So it's a roll of the dice for all of us. As for my safety, I just want to let you know, I don't think there's much chance that you're going to get rid of me that easily. If the worst happens and my house gets damaged where I can't live in it or have to do something and my studio isn't available, I'll still find a way to get on YouTube. Not a problem. And however long it takes, we rebuild. That's what we do. That's what we do. And I hope another storm doesn't come along before we even start rebuilding, which is what's happening to those people on the west coast of Florida right now. They haven't even had the rubble picked up in front of their house. So our governor had to mobilize the National Guard with, I think, 300 trucks that they sent down to the Pinellas County, to Treasure Island and Clearwater Beach, to clean up all the rubble that was piled up in front of all the houses from the storm we had 2 weeks ago. Because if another 10 or 15 feet of storm surge comes in, that rubble will be everywhere and it'll be destroying everything. It'll be dangerous. It's furniture. It'll be crashing through the windows of people's houses, through the second story windows. So they're making a monumental effort to do that. Not the federal government, nowhere to be seen, but the state are taking care of business and doing the best that they can. I have pretty much stocked up. I'm able to survive in my home if my home survives with no problem. If the wind doesn't get ridiculous, if it's a Cat 1 or less, there's a good chance I may stay here. If things get, and I doubt that, but if it doesn't turn out to be what it was hyped to be, and I think pretty much in every hurricane that we've ever had, it's always turned out that way. When they talk about 100-mile-an-hour winds, we end up having 60, 65-mile-an-hour winds. So we'll see. My son lives 15 minutes from me. He's got a very substantial house. It's brick over frame, single story, like a little fortress. But it sits right on the intercoastal waterway. So he has other concerns. Whenever these big storms come in his house, you look out the back window and you've got 1 mile wide intercoastal out there. And then between the ocean and the intercoastal, you've got the beach. And they're actually calling for storm surge on the East Coast. So it's possible. This is the crazy part. I might be safer in my house than I am over there. Over there, they may have tremendous flooding, but not as susceptible to the wind. So how do you know? You have to wait till the last minute. You have to become a meteorologist and say, okay, I've analyzed all the data, and this is my best move. Worst comes to worst. If it really gets bad through the worst part of the storm, and I elected to stay home, I will go outside and get in my car. And nothing is going to kill me in my car. If it's in my carport and the roof of the carport collapses, it's just tin. It's not going to flatten the roof. And it won't be any fun, but I'll be alive. I'll be alive. I have options, but I don't know which are going to be the best. But we're not going to be getting a Cat 4 storm or a Cat 5 storm or a storm with 280 mile an hour winds or whatever the hell they keep predicting. I think they're predicting, actually saw one weather forecast that says up to 200 mile an hour gusts. That's crazy. That's nuts. And one thing I'll be doing is being a good little weatherman, and I'll be posting or maybe going online for a few minutes, because I can do that from my cell phone as long as I got a cell phone signal, and telling you how I'm doing and what I decided. FYI, that's all. I think you guys care, and I appreciate that. Thursday night, I doubt that we're going to have a members live stream. The storm slowed down. It's not coming as fast as they predicted. So we're going to get the brunt of it on Thursday here during the day. There is no doubt in my mind that we will not have power. Probably at least all day Thursday. I'm all set for that. And my son is all set. If I happen to be over at my son's house, he's got a big generator, and we've all been through this many, many times before. I might get stuck at my son's house, because if the intercoastal floods the road to his house, then we can't drive out of there. We just sit and wait for the water to recede. But in that case, I can still go online from my tablet and do a pop-up live stream or make a post, and because I'll miss you guys. I'll miss you guys. The most likely thing that's going to happen to us over here on the East Coast, where I am, is little to no damage, hopefully. Everything will return to normal for me pretty quick. Even though it might not return to normal for most people in this state, or half the people in this state, for a year or two, because of the nightmare when everybody gets destroyed at the same time. The nightmare of even getting an insurance claim filed with your insurance company. Getting an insurance adjuster who's got 5,000 houses to look at. Getting a contractor that isn't going to screw you over, take your money, and never show up again. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. There are people in Florida still recovering from hurricanes that were 2 years ago. It's a hassle. It's a hassle. So that's where it sets with me. I'm going to take a little time, say hello to people. And I don't really have a program or a mission tonight, other than to just have a little get together and see my friends. I did want to say one thing. Say one thing. And I've seen a lot of it on YouTube. And I've gotten a lot of emails from people that I know who, because of these disasters and things from the last storm, they ask for your help. They get themselves into financial trouble, and they put GoFundMes out there. You know what a GoFundMe is? I won't do that. I would never, ever do that. Let me acknowledge BMAT over in Tampa. Mitch said, okay to eat carbs during a hurricane. Well, here's the problem with that, Matt. You're going to want to eat more carbs. And then before you know it, you're gonna be binging every 2 hours, and then you're gonna run out of them at your house because you probably don't have many in your house, and you're gonna be trying to figure out how to get to the store to get carbs. And if you just don't eat them, that'll never happen. So I would recommend that you don't. But you can do whatever your little heart desires, and I'll be okay with that. And I understand the added stresses. And I don't know where you live in Tampa. My daughter lives in Trinity. She's just north of Tampa in Pasco County. And she's about 10 or 15 miles inland. So they're not worried about the surge. And they've got a pretty substantial house, but they are going to get some tremendous wind. And I talked to her this morning. They have hurricane shutters. They're putting up their shutters. They're going to hunker down. But her husband, my son-in-law's father, has to come stay with them. My ex-wife, her mother, has to come stay with us. So their house now over in Tampa is a sanctuary. So I'm hoping that you're in a good place over there. I know that Michael Seeley over in Tampa, I think he let his father know, and his father let me know, his father's over here in Melbourne, that he's going to Orlando and staying in a hotel. And that's smart. Anybody that's close to the water, it would be just an absolute miracle if they didn't get a worse flood than they got the last time. It's scary. Life is scary. What's better? Have to go through one of these storms or get a terminal cancer diagnosis? I don't know. There's a lot of horrible things that can happen to you in this life, and one or more of them usually does. That's just life. And it's okay. It's okay to be unhappy about it. It's okay to look up at the sky and go, why me? No shame in that. No shame in shedding a tear when you have a loss. It's a normal human emotion. Sometimes I would suspect those who don't be a little cold, maybe a little hard. So thank you, Matt. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Now, I was saying about this GoFundMe stuff, I don't do any of that stuff. I don't hide the fact that I'm trying to make a living doing this YouTube stuff, but I don't ask for charity. I set up this Amazon thing, and you guys use it, and it's perfect, and it works great. It doesn't cost anybody money, but the timing of this storm has completely screwed me as far as my Amazon deal goes, and let me tell you why. For the past 6 weeks, I've been getting emails from Amazon that started out saying, confidential, don't let this out, don't tell anybody. October 8th and October 9th are going to be our big Prime Day sale. They sent me a spreadsheet with 1,500,000 different items on it. How do you find anything in that? All of their deals. And I'm, as a good little Amazon affiliate, supposed to pick the ones that I think my viewers might like, and I'm supposed to let you know which ones they are. I'm sorry. I'm too preoccupied right now. I am just too preoccupied to go deal hunting on Amazon. If they happen to email me one particular deal that maybe is something that I already have on my website, and they do that occasionally. I usually make a community post and say, Amazon just let me know that this is on sale for a limited time, and like those backup battery things. And if they do that, I'll blast them out to you, but I just can't, not as preoccupied as I am with survival and the survival of my house and stuff right now, to worry about becoming an Amazon salesman. So I would only ask this of you. And if you want to do it, fine. If you don't want to do it, that's fine too, if you forget to do it. that's fine too. You do know that if you go to Amazon through any link on my website, I don't care what it is. It might be that bacon grease catcher. If you click that link first and it opens up an Amazon browser, and whether you buy that bacon grease thing or not, if you go to any other product on Amazon and buy it, they pay me a commission. They pay me a commission. I have some followers of mine that are do this faithfully, and I love them for it because it really helps me out. Anytime they go to Amazon, they go in through one of my links, and then they go buy what they want, and I get paid. Doesn't cost them any extra. It costs them one click extra. One click. And I see some of the wildest stuff show up in my reports that people are buying, and I know that they didn't find it on my website, but that's how it works. So over the next few days, especially during this Amazon Prime Day sale, if something comes up you want to buy and you don't think I'm being too forward to ask you, go in through one of my links. Better yet, even if you want to buy anything that I have that I tell you I use in my kitchen, that'd be great. But anything you do after that, Amazon says, well, Mitch brought them to the party. Anything that they do while they're at that party, we're going to pay them. So that would be very nice of you. That's all. No GoFundMe pages. No, I don't want charity. I don't want anything like that. Always wanted to, any penny that I ever get, I want to try to know that I've earned it and I've given some value for it, or I don't want it. I don't want it. I just wanted to mention that. Got a nice turnout here. A better turnout than I ever get on a Tuesday, but I have to think that a lot of people are just interested in my take on the storm, and because I've had better than normal views on my morning talks when I talked about the storm. So not 100 million views, but a little more than I usually get. So thank you for that. Thank you so much. Let me say hello to people here, because I've been doing this for a half an hour. We've talked about the storm. I was going to show you weather maps, and I said, nah, I can't do that. It's all I've seen all day is cones. These friggin' cones are so misleading. So misleading. And then I look back at Hurricane Ian that happened a few years ago, and it was heading right for Tampa. And for days, they were talking about the storm surge and how, it's going to wash Tampa away. And at the last minute, the storm took a right turn and slammed right down around Naples. And nobody saw that coming. And man, the damage it did down there. So you never know at the last minute. The last storm we had 2 weeks ago was headed right for Tallahassee, remember? They were telling you that Tallahassee was going to be destroyed. It's a city of trees. All these old trees are going to get knocked down from this tremendous Category 3 storm that's going to slam right into Tallahassee. The thing took a little detour to the east, about 30 miles, which put it on the good side of the storm. And Tallahassee hardly got any damage at all. And that's the difference. Sometimes it can be a matter of whether the storm goes 10 miles or 20 miles this way, especially for those people in Tampa. If the storm goes south of Tampa, if the eye passes south of Tampa, there's a good chance that it will push all the water out of Tampa Bay. I've seen storms do that before. People are out there walking a half mile offshore because there's no water in Tampa Bay, because the wind is coming around counterclockwise. And if the storm is to the right, the wind is blowing away from shore on the left. If the storm comes in just slightly to the north of Tampa Bay, it's going to push 20 feet of water into Tampa Bay and point south. A couple of miles will make all the difference in the world. I've been through 2 hurricanes where I actually sat through the eye. It was actually the thing made a beeline for me. Charlie was one I remember the best. In 2004, I was sitting in my house over in Orlando, and the eye passed right over my house, and the wind, and it was like 90-mile-an-hour winds, and it was howling from one direction, and everything was, all the trees were bending over this way, and all of a sudden the wind just stopped. I looked out back. I could look up straight up. There was no wind. I saw the stars and the clear black sky. And then 10 minutes later, I got slammed from the opposite direction, from the wind going around the other wall, the eye wall, and it knocked over most of the trees. Because what happened was the first wind kind of kept pushing them this way, loosened up the roots, and then when the ball passed, it slammed them the other way and knocked them over. It was terrible. Couldn't even get out of the house for a day or two because the roads were just covered with big trees that had fallen down. And these were big, old trees, big old oak trees. Took a long time to clean that mess up. See, Terry was the first one in here earlier today, and Michael Seeley, United Carnivore. Michael, are you? Greetings from Orlando. Michael is safe in his hotel. The storm slowed down, Mike, so you're going to have an extra day of vacation, it looks like. Right now, it's not scheduled to hit here till Thursday sometime. It was supposed to come in over the middle of the night on Wednesday. The slower it goes, the more rain you usually get. I don't like that. As it slows down, it's going to get bigger and bigger. So the wind field's going to get bigger. And we just can't know. I don't care how good a weatherman you are. We can't know what's going to happen with this thing. Until the last minute, almost, until it happens. We've got just too many variables for these models to take into account to really nail it this time. We'll see. There's only one thing I can tell you for sure, my friends. Whatever it is, it's going to be. That's it. For sure. For sure. And after it's over, we can tell you exactly what it was, but not before. Jody, Drone Shots, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. No hurricanes where you are. Lori Weitzel, how you doing? Monday night, you guys like Monday night? Seriously, if you like Monday night better, let me know. Send me an email. Make a comment on one of the, I'm going to make a video tomorrow morning. Leave comments on that video. I like Monday better. I like Tuesday better. Maybe I should just put out a poll. I think I might do that. I've never done that in the community tab. Just put out a poll. I can do that. I'm going to do that. Don't bother telling me. I'm going to put a poll out tomorrow, and it's going to say, would you rather have my live stream on Monday or Tuesday night? Makes no difference to me. No difference whatsoever. We have Richard Williams, Copper Hill, Tennessee. How you doing? Good to see you. And we also have Jerry Bell, who always says hello, meat people. Linda G, how you doing? Good to see you. And Mark Booz Sr. Hey, Mark, how you doing? You all ready for this? You should be fine where you are. You're south of me. And I think you're going to be all right. I think you're going to be all right. Just keep an eye out. Keep an eye out right up to the last minute. But I think however good that I manage you, I think you'll do better than that. That's from Old Guy Weather Central here. Patty Molden, how you doing, Patty? Good to see you. Mama Cracker is here. Hi, Patty. How you doing? Good to see you. And, of course, BMAT said hello from Tampa. Sammy Shuford says hello. Satya's here. Hey, Satya Khalsa. Good to see you. Mark Davis is here. Hi, Mark. How you doing? I'm going to be eating walleye here in a few minutes. Anyone like walleye? Yes. Yes. Well, sounds like you're already a carnivore, my friend. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Don't think you're going to have a hurricane up in Wisconsin today. So wish me the best. William McCartney is here. Beth is here. Stanley Bridge is here. How you doing, Stanley? And Josephine C. is here. Michelle Morgan, how you doing, Michelle? West Palm Beach. You ought to be okay down in West Palm Beach. Southeast Florida is going to luck out on this one. They get their share down there, but I think they're going to do okay on this one. So glad you're going to be somewhere relatively safe. And Vadim Chernoff, how you doing? I found that my iron level's low. I am now indulging on eating sauteed chicken livers and chicken gizzards. Mitch, do you eat chicken livers? No, I don't. I don't. I do eat an awful lot of red meat, though. And my iron's always been fine. But it couldn't hurt. It certainly couldn't hurt. Belmont Leon says, good evening. DS111 is here. The music makes him want to go have a drink. Yeah, it is kind of lounge music. Look out for the wobble. Yeah, that's the problem with these storms. They're not watching TV, unfortunately. As much as these weathermen would like the storms to listen to them, it doesn't work that way. Cordelia. Sorry. How you doing from Albany, New York? Good to see you. And Tina Schweigerath. Hi, Tina. I have a question. And if you do have a question for me, throw those 3 capital Q's in front of it, somewhere in the beginning of the question, and I will find it, hopefully. I switched to eating 2 meals a day a couple months ago, but not losing any more pounds. I am think of doing 3 smaller meals. Do you think that might help? I'm only 5'2". Tina? I don't know I don't think that'll make any difference or affect your weight in any way. I might be wrong. I think if you don't eat to satiety at every meal, you're gonna naturally eat more and eat 3 meals or 4 meals. I think that 2 meals for me is perfect. So as long as I know that I eat enough and I eat until I'm full on both of those meals, it's fine. Now, if you're not losing weight, there could be any number of things. Some of them may be medical. You may be on a stall. A stall can last months. I don't know how much weight you've lost already, whether you're occasionally having a little cheat or something. I don't know if you're taking any medication at all. Sometimes just some medication can keep you from losing weight. It can be a lot of things. It can be a lot of different things. But I honestly, my opinion, don't think it makes any difference if you eat a certain amount of food during the course of the day. Now, if eating 3 meals a day means you're eating more food, yeah. Because I hate to use the term calories, but let's just call food food. You reach a certain point where you can eat too much and you won't gain weight. So figure out how much your 5'2" body needs. What do you need? A pound and a half of food a day, maybe? And just make sure you're not hungry all the time. Eat to satiety. Try that and see what happens. And if you're having a stall, if you lost weight and all of a sudden stalled, you have to give it a little time. Your body, that's natural. That's normal. Everybody stalls. Nobody continues to lose weight at a fast rate and doesn't slow down. The body naturally wants to not have a leak in its gas tank and not use its energy too fast. We are programmed to preserve what energy we have and accumulate it when we can. There didn't used to be a gas station on every corner in the old days. Hope that answers your question. Experiment a little, see what happens. Stop worrying so much about the scale. Just eat to satiety and eat when you're hungry. Let your body tell you what it needs, and then see if the weight doesn't start to come off eventually. Dixie Scott, how you doing? Good to see you. And Mike Lowe is here, Chicago. Bullets flying, no hurricanes. Yeah, I don't know who's more unsafe. This time I think it may be us here in Florida. Ludi Cruss is here. How you doing? Intolerant every night. Who else haven't I said hi to? Bass Piper, stay safe out there. I will do the best I can, my friend. Thank you. They're taking Cat 5, 16 OMF winds are possible. They're talking, Kevin. It's a Cat 5 now. Cliff, it's already a Cat 5. It's out there just coming up on the Yucatan Peninsula. It's way far away from us. It's out over open water, plenty of hot water. It's gone over another spot that has a little tongue of hot water. It's going to get up to 180, 190, and then it's going to slow down because we've got a whole jet stream dipping down and a front dipping down and wind shear and other things that tear it. And I'm pretty certain, looking at the weather forecast and knowing as much about meteorology as I do, and I know a little more, not as much as a weatherman, but as a pilot, I learned all that stuff, and I understand how it works, and I also understand what their computer models do, what they have. It amazes me they do as well as they actually do. There's so many factors that can influence the tiniest little difference. But I really believe with the things that they're seeing and the confluence of the different models, especially the European and the American model, pretty close. Those are the big ones and probably, I think, the most accurate. It's going to be a 125 mile an hour storm when it slams into Tampa, which is nothing to sneeze at. That's a Cat 3. That's a Cat 3. Linda G says, Mitch, if you have nowhere to go, jump on a plane and come here to Quebec. Yeah, just let me do that right now, Linda. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Jump on a plane. I'd have to be able to jump right now about 60 miles because I'd never get to the airport, that's for sure. Like I said earlier, I doubt I could even get to the interstate right now with all these people trying to get on the interstate. Oh, yes. I see here. I see Spanky's here. Golf Addict, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Ellen is here. Hi, Ellen. Good to see you, too. Good to see you. And Cliff has given me another weather for you. As now, Hurricane Milton is indeed a Category 5 storm. Yes, it is. Yeah, and it's going to continue to grow. What it does out there over the Gulf is of little concern to me. I have to wait and see where it hits the coast and how strong it is when it hits the coast, and then I can figure out what I think is going to happen where I live. And we'll see. Anybody's guess right now. Rice and beans, how you doing? Does it wash all the gators and pythons up into your yard? No, it hasn't in the past. We don't have a lot of gators. I've only seen 8 years I've lived here. I've seen 2 alligators. The only time I saw them was when some trappers came out to actually catch them and take them away. Not that there aren't alligators in Florida, believe me. Plenty of them. Gary from Delaware, don't forget the humidor. Oh, if I go to my son's, I'm taking some cigars. He smokes cigars too, and he's got a humidor too. So we'll be good. The problem is we only smoke outside. Where are we going to go and smoke out of the wind? Maybe we'll sit in his garage and crack the door or something. But we'll figure out a way. We're going to need to relax somehow. B-Matt, how you doing? Mitch, it's okay to eat carbs during a hurricane. You said that already. I got that one. So let me see. There was another one from B-Matt. Holy cow. There's a lot of chatting going on. Let me scroll down to that one. Evidently way down in the chat here. Holy cow. I want to show it on the screen. I can read it over on my other screen here. Here it is. B-Matt, thank you so much, my friend. Mitch, does the EcoFlow Delta 2 come with a cable to connect 2 of them together? No, but I'm sure the spare battery that you buy must come with that cable. Okay? I didn't buy the spare battery. I actually bought, because the spare battery costs pretty much the same as a second EcoFlow 2, which are on sale right now at $489. They're on sale because the EcoFlow 3 came out. And the only difference I can see in the EcoFlow 3 is they've made a few minor improvements, the only one of which might mean anything to me is they've made the switchover time faster so it can actually work as a UPS for a computer system. The EcoFlow 2, when the power goes off, if you have it can switch over, but it's not fast enough to keep the computer running. Most people never buy those things as standby power supplies. I have a standby power supply that will keep my whole system running for about 20 minutes. So if the power goes off and doesn't come right back on, I will unplug the standby power supply from the wall, in which case it'll keep running because the wall is dead anyway, and I'll plug it into the EcoFlow 2 and turn it on, and I'm good. I don't need it to switch. So for the difference in money between the newer model and the 2, which is a great unit, I bought the 2s. $689 right now. And I'd buy a second one. And the reason I wanted a second one is I can use them in 2 different places. I still have the same amount of standby power, but I can use one of them at one end of the house. I can use one at the other end of the house if I have two separate units. So that was my reasoning anyway. Thank you for the super chat again, my friend. Appreciate that. Is Sherry Morgan here? I see her name. I just skipped a ton of the chat over here. I'm afraid that there's just too much chatting going on. Got a big audience tonight, 172 people. Maybe Monday night is better for you guys. Or maybe you just thought I had something actually interesting to talk about tonight. Christopher, a new name. Love your channel, Strict Carnivore. Living my best life. Keep up the good work. You too, my friend. Congratulations. Congratulations. There's Sherry. Hi, Sherry. How you doing? Ellen, fat is where it's at. I eat a 4-to-1 fat protein ratio. Feel so much better. That's not bad. That's like 80-20. 80-20 is great. For a lot of people, 80% fat, 20% protein. Really is ideal. I may even approach that. I know I'm at least 70%. Because I eat a lot of fat stuff. I eat a lot of bacon and eggs. A lot of bacon and eggs. And Ellen and Sherry are chatting away, and Mama Crack. Juan is here. How you doing, Juan Manuel from Chile? Hola. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'll tell you, if nothing else, it's a great diversion for me. Take my mind off of watching TV, watching the cone. There comes the cone again. Here's the spaghetti models. Here's the cone with the spaghetti models overlaid on top of them. Here's a map of Florida with different colors. Here's a map of Florida with different colors with the spaghetti model and the cone overlaid on top of it. We got any more graphics there, Fred? Yeah. What do you want? I mean, they're busy, man. Their graphics department has got to be busy during these storms. And you can't help but see it because every weatherman that has a YouTube channel is just blasting out clickbait now. Oh, man. It's the end of days. It's the end of days. Steve Studley, I saw your name pop up in the chat over here. Good to see you. Wow, it'd really be cool if I hit 200 people. I don't know if I've ever hit 200 on a live stream yet. That would be great. That would be great. Tell me, got on. Here's Linda G. has not one question, but 2. According to your knowledge, can carnivore lifestyle reverse clogged arteries? You know, I think there's a lot of. I think it could. Is it guaranteed to? I don't think so. There are people actually claim that it actually can lower your CAC score a little bit, and yet there are people who say that's impossible. Once calcium forms, it's there. I know that's not impossible because I had calcium oxalate stones in my kidneys, which have dissolved. They're gone. Why not in the arteries? And if so, is that really a good idea? Because that calcium is there for a reason. It stabilizes the soft plaque so it doesn't break off and end up clotting somewhere, giving you a heart attack. The best we can do, I think, is not to try to outthink that stuff, and just know that when we eat healthy, there's nothing better we can do for our body. And if something good is going to happen, it'll happen. If it's not going to happen, it won't happen. But it wouldn't get worse, and that's the real benefit, Linda. If you have serious blockages in your artery, surgery is the answer, unfortunately. And I don't think you can count on just that. There's no shortage of snake oil salesmen out there selling this cleanse, that cleanse, and the other cleanse. Cleans your arteries out. Now, a Roto-Rooter cleans them out. You may, over the years, attack some plaque and other buildup, but if it's gone on a whole lifetime, and if it's been 40 or 50 years of eating crap, you're going to have to be on carnivore a long time. But you probably won't accumulate any more buildup in your arteries, or your CAC score, your calcium score, probably will level off. And that's a win. If that's all you get out of it, I think that's a win. Thanks for the question. It's a good question, though, and I don't know if there's been any real credible research done on that, because that kind of research could take 10 or 20 years to see if there were any appreciable results. We had Sherry, I see, come up with a super chat. Let me find that in here. There it is, Sherry Morgan. Thank you so much, Sherry. Good to see you. I'm in need of a new refrigerator and standalone freezer. What do you suggest? Any from Amazon? Thank you. Wow, Sherry. I don't know anybody that bought a refrigerator or a freezer from Amazon. I'll tell you, I have very little experience with refrigerators. It's not something you buy a lot of. The last refrigerator I bought, you've seen it in my videos in my kitchen. It's an over-under. It's got plenty of room for me. It's a Samsung, and it's a terrific refrigerator. And I think I got it at Best Buy. I don't know if I'll be buying those things at Amazon, but if you're thinking of me, I appreciate that. The little freezer I got cost $200, a little 5 cubic foot freezer. Everybody sells the same freezer. It looks the same with their own name on it. The one I got came from Best Buy. It said Insignia on it. It was like $200. Works great. I've had it for a year and a half now. And I'm just now starting to get to the point when I look at it, I say, maybe I should defrost this thing. But the frost may look thick, but it's still only, less than a quarter-inch thick. It's not taking up any room in there, but probably work more efficiently without it. So I can't advise you on that, even if I'd like to. It's not something that we buy a lot of, I don't think. But thanks for the thought. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. Michael Pregler's here. Hey, Michael. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. And somebody named Last Frontier. So sorry to have to tell you, carnivore hasn't worked for me. I'm so sorry to have to hear that. I don't know how to respond to that, because I have no idea what you're doing. I have no idea who you are, or how many problems you have, or what shape you're in, or what age you are. I have no idea. I have no idea that you may think you're doing carnivore, or you may be doing carnivore. I can only say one thing to you, and that is, don't do it. If you're convinced it doesn't work, find something else. Or try to learn more about it and see maybe if you're not doing something a little wrong because you're new at it and you misunderstand, or you haven't given it enough time. And whatever you do, believe me, I wish you the best. And I'm happy you came in. Thanks for coming in. And what else we got? The Antique Action Figure. How you doing? YouTubers live streaming on the ground are doing better than the mainstream media. So what's new? That's normally the case. Hey, Naomi Jones was watching the hurricane and discovered that you are live. How about that? Cool. Yeah, it's a surprise. Here it is Monday. Because I don't want to do it tomorrow. I don't know. I may have been able to do it tomorrow. Hell, if I have nothing else to do, and you guys put up with me, and I'm bored, I may be back tomorrow. I could do this every night. This is the most fun part of the YouTube experience that I have. It's doing these live streams. I absolutely love it. Jamie Vaux, how you doing? Hi, Mitch in chat. 81 and a half years old, carnivore of 6 years. You young folks keep safe down there in my old hometown in Florida. Yes, sir, we will. We will, and thanks so much for that, Jamie. Good to see you. 81 and a half. 4 years older than me. Wow, wow, wow. At last, somebody older than me. Thank you for that. Last Frontier, never lost an ounce after almost a year. My arthritis is just as bad. Please don't delude yourself. Okay, so let me get this straight, Last Frontier. Let me get this straight. Because that was unnecessary. Maybe I misunderstood what you meant to say, but I don't think so. So what you're telling us is because you didn't work, it didn't work for you, that it won't work for anybody. Well, shit. See ya. Nice knowing you all. Nice knowing you all. Nice knowing you. See this? See this here? This used to be out to here, but this shit doesn't work. Jesus. All these years I've been delusional. Can you imagine that? I've been fooling myself. I've been fooling myself. I was a fat arthritic, almost cripple, with kidney stones. I must have been fooling myself. Jesus, how delusional. How delusional was I? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let me get rid of that. Another thing. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but I'm 77 goddamn years old. Can you see me here? Can you see me? No, you can't see me. Hold on a second. Hold on. Because I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. Just shocked. Incredibly shocked that I've wasted 2 years of my life. I've wasted 2 years of my life at 77 years old. And I can do this. I can do this. Man, I wish I'd have tried that sooner. You know, unfriggin' believable. Unbelievable. Can you believe it? Can you believe I've been fooling myself all of these years? Thinking foolishly that carnivore doesn't work. Do you hear that, Peter? Do you hear that, Mark? Do you hear that, Michael Seeley? Each one of those guys has lost over 100 pounds. So, my friend, you're a troll. Okay? You're a troll. And that's how I treat trolls. I hope you guys got entertained by that little rant. Anybody like that? See what people said about that little outrage. Loving the show, Mitch. Thank you. Oh my God, says Dixie Scott. Yeah, I mean, come on. I can understand not agreeing with somebody. But please, nobody invalidate somebody's efforts, their improvements and the work and dedication that they put into it. Nobody has a right to do that. Nobody has a right to do that. I am going to have to cut that clip out. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put it out as a separate video. Say, this is how Mitch deals with trolls. Hey, listen, that was fun. I enjoyed that. And if I hadn't already done about 50 push-ups today, I might have stayed down there a little longer. I didn't want to waste too much time. I only did 5, but I was just getting started. I'm 77 years old. How old are you, my friend? I weigh 137 pounds. How much do you weigh, my friend? Crazy. Crazy people. Oh, man. Oh, that was worth just coming tonight, just for that. Oh, Laurie Weitzel. Hey, Mitch, almost 200 here. Yeah. We've got too many people. I'm not prepared for it tonight. I was going to show some pictures, but I hadn't gotten them all ready to put up yet. And I want to make a nice presentation out of it. I got some pictures from Mark Boo's before and after pictures that you're not going to believe. And I just wanted to do it justice. So we are going to do that. But that was fun. BMAT liked it. Last Frontier, one of those freaky Star Trekkers. Gary from Delaware. You know, I used to be able to do push-ups in front of my desk, and the rear camera was angled where it picked it up, and today it didn't. I must have changed the angle of that thing at some point. Polish Mike says, if the scale does not move, you can move it from where it is now and move it to another room. Good point, Mike. Good point. Unless it's nailed down, any scale should be able to move. I praise you, Last Frontier, for continuing to try. Oh, thank you, Linda. I praise you, Last Frontier, for continuing to try. I strongly recommend a channel with metabolic focus. I like you. I don't think this guy is really interested in carnivore, or he wouldn't have said that thing he said to me. I don't think I misunderstood what he's saying. He told me that I was delusional, and that's when I just said, oh, I'll show him how delusional I am. Last Frontier. Oh, everybody's answered him. You're not going to change this guy. I doubt if he's still here. I doubt if he's still in the chat. He's probably gone. He's probably a vegan. Last Frontier. Oh, he is here. Hey, thanks, Dickie. I'm not a he. I didn't say, or I didn't mean you're delusional. Okay. Apology accepted. Because I'm here to help everybody. And everybody will tell you that. Everybody will tell you that if I can help, I will. But sometimes it's impossible unless you so intimately know somebody and everything about them to be able. Doctors can't tell you why you're not losing weight. Even carnivore doctors, even Ken Berry himself can't tell you why it's not working for you unless they do a barrage of tests and examinations and take medical histories from you like you've never had and explore any one of hundreds of different things that you may have going on in your body that keep you from losing weight, and know exactly what food you're putting in your body and know what your bowel habits are. It is such a complex organism. We are such a complex organism. Just like this hurricane. The slightest little, I talk about the butterfly effect. One butterfly right now in Alabama could flutter its wings and end up changing the course of this hurricane and killing people that might not have otherwise been killed. Every little force affects the entirety. So listen, if you're not a troll, if you're serious about this, watch Ken Berry's channel, read some books. It's so simple. Listen to my How to Start Carnivore. Follow it. Don't cheat. Keto doesn't work, in my estimation. If you're a carb addict, you have to abstain completely from carbs. If you're not a carb addict and you're not losing weight because you're still eating some sugars, even though you may think you're not eating a lot of carbs, just the few grams of sugars may be keeping you from losing weight. It could be anything. It could be anything. So, again, thank you for clarifying that you weren't telling me I was delusional. Appreciate that. Mark Davis, question: I didn't appreciate how you treated Last Frontier. You have misunderstood her. Wait till you read her future comment. Okay, Mark. All right. I apologized. I misunderstood it. Was an opportunity for me to try to be funny. I got a few laughs. It's a she, not a he. Sherry Morgan deleted a message. Oh, Sherry, sorry for that, Lori said. Scooby says, yes, I think this was a misunderstanding. Okay, so I'm sorry if I'm a bad guy. I'll have to go back and reread that comment, but to me it looks like I read it right, but maybe I didn't. Don't hate me, guys. I'm under a lot of stress here today, too. Very, very. And it's not going to get any easier for the next 2 days, that's for damn sure. Last Frontier, I'm sorry I didn't make myself clear. No problem. No problem. You don't know me. I've never seen you in here before. You don't know me. I try to be entertaining. I do outrageous things sometimes. I go on rants sometimes. Most of them are done for effect. I may act like I'm upset, but I'm not. They call that a shtick. A lot of people like that about me. They like this. They like that part. They laugh themselves silly because they understand what I'm doing. So I hope you understand that. I saw that as a hell of an opening. And I needed to blow off some steam because of this storm and the worrying about it and the pressure and how important it could be if I lose my home and everything else. Shit happens. I'm still going to make a video out of it though, because it was I think it was a pretty good little rant. Golf addict, you're not a bad guy. No, I'm not a bad guy. I love everybody. And I try not to insult anybody. Sherry says, we can never hate you. We mean misunderstanding from both sides. It's hard to communicate. It's hard to communicate typing. That's why I don't like chatting on the phone or even answering comments. My kids want to chat with me on the phone. I say, talk to me. Call me on the phone and talk to me. Last Frontier. Okay, keep telling us more. I'm a 69-year-old woman, and it just seems that it works best for men. Sorry about that. I hope you understand now my frustration. I love Dr. Bree. Okay. You're my new best friend. I love you. Honest to God, I have nothing against you. We do get trolls in here, and I'm always on the lookout for them. You wouldn't believe some of the comments I get. There was a time when those comments almost made me drop off, just give up doing YouTube completely. They hurt me. I'm a sensitive guy. I don't like to get my feelings hurt either. But if you're having a problem, and you tell me more and more about you, and I can help you, of course I will. Of course I will. We have a great community here. You can see that in the chat. These people all love each other. It's a great group of people, and everybody helps everybody. And I seem to be riding herd on this little group of carnivores that most of whom are doing great, but we all, each of us individually, still has a few things that maybe aren't working as good as we might want them to. And the best way to find out why something isn't working is to manage to run across somebody that is having or has had the same problem with the same type of symptoms, or is living a life similar or doing carnivore similar to you. Thyroid problems will keep you from losing weight. There's so many things. And I don't know, but I do understand your frustration. It took me until 75 years old to finally figure out why I could never maintain a weight loss after I always struggled. All my life, 75 years, yo-yoing. I could lose the weight, but I could never keep it off. I would always go back to the carbs. And I finally discovered the reason. And that's why I'm on YouTube. Basically to tell people that it worked for me. It worked for me. Thank you, Satya. Satya still loves me. It was, Scooby says, it was hilarious. We can all laugh now. Humor is the best. Yes, I was trying to be funny. You should know me. Well, maybe you don't know me well enough. Honest to God, it was an act. Have you ever seen me fly off the handle before? I don't ever do that. If I do it, it's for effect. So I'm sorry if anybody misunderstood. And Last Frontier, if I hurt your feelings, I'm really sorry. Didn't mean to. If you're serious and if there's anything I can do to help you, I will. Last Frontier, upon reading it again, don't delude yourself. I think you meant it as at yourself, not Mitch. So John Alver read it again, and you said, don't delude yourself. And that's what I read. And it was maybe a poor choice of words. So shame on both of us. If I told somebody, don't delude yourself, I'm telling them, you're delusional. Don't delude yourself. That's how I read it. Carnivore doesn't work. So here you came in and you basically said, carnivore doesn't work. Don't delude yourself. That maybe you didn't phrase it exactly right. And the way I heard it was, carnivore doesn't work. Well, look at me. And that was how the whole thing started. So actually, I'm glad you did it because it was fun. And I got to do a few push-ups in the process. And that's not bad for an old man who's older than you. Young lady, 69, young lady. Last Frontiers, I'm so sorry and so frustrated. You're funny, but believe me, I'm very serious about carnivore. My fat cells are frigging dominant, I guess. Well, how's your insulin? How's your insulin? Are you a diabetic? Do you know what your fasting insulin is? Do you know what your C-peptide is? If your fat cells will not give up fat, the most common cause of that is hyperinsulinemia. Too much insulin in your bloodstream puts you in what they call fat storage mode. Your body conserves what fat it has and tries to store even more of it. That's one of the main purposes of insulin, is to pretty much shut off the fat cells. If you're having a problem where you can't get rid of your body fat, I don't know if you're a diabetic or not. Maybe you're a diabetic, but you keep chatting. You keep chatting with some of the great women that we have in our community, with Sherry Morgan, with Ellen, with Satya Khalsa. And I, honest to God, they will do everything in their power to let you know what they did that worked for them. And that's the kind of group that we are here. And now that I know who you are, and I know that you're not just some vegan coming in here to try to discredit me, I don't take kindly to that, as you see. Of course I want to help you. Of course I do. So, good to have you here. Good to have you here. And Sherry has given me a super chat and says, where is it? I want to put it up. There it is. Super off topic. Where do you get your jazz music? Do you make it yourself? If so, would you consider selling me some jazz for my poll videos? Sherry, the problem with using music on YouTube is if you picked 100 songs these days and put them on your YouTube channel, you'd get a copyright violation. Not a strike, not anything bad, but you'd get a notice from YouTube that they are sharing any money you might make on that video with the copyright holder of the music. And people have made a business out of copywriting everything, whether they actually own the copyright or not. And I actually used to use other songs. I had somebody actually recorded me a version of that Body and Soul. Remember that? I can play a second of it here. Okay, remember that? I got a copyright violation for that. I'd been playing it for months. It wasn't a copyrighted piece of music, but because somebody actually copyrighted the actual melody. They don't own that melody. And YouTube honors their copyright and told me any revenue that my video produces is going to go to them. So I stopped using it. That one that I have, this thing that's called Book Bag, is one piece of music that I have that I know isn't copyrighted. And I have a couple pieces of music, and I'll email you the MP3s and feel free to use them if you like. That music music that I light my cigar to and beat my eggs to, that Latin thing. So far, I haven't gotten a strike on that. So, and I got them all off of public domain sites. And it took me years to accumulate some of those things, and I could use them in my videos, and I did. And I have a lot of that stuff. I'm afraid to use most of it now because YouTube seems to have found a copyright claimer for virtually everything that has more than 2 notes in it. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. But yeah, Sherry, I'll see if I can't gather up a couple. Send me an email, if you would, to my Gmail account, so I don't forget to do that, and I'll reply and attach a couple MP3 files in there for you, and feel free to use them. I don't own them, and hopefully nobody else claims that they do either. Or you could do like many YouTubers do who actually use a lot of music. There are a number of different services that license you to use their music. The one that I'm most familiar with is called Epidemic Sound. They have a huge variety of tens and tens of thousands of different songs, good quality stuff. But I think you got to pay $10, $15 a month for a subscription. And then when you use them in your YouTube videos, somewhere in the description, you put your epidemic sound information so that YouTube knows you're licensed to use it. I don't use enough music. I used to in my drone videos because whenever I would be flying a drone and wanted to make the aerial photography pretty and dramatic, I would find an appropriate piece of music for it. But not talking about cooking steaks or eating eggs and bacon. So, okay, I'd be happy to do that for you. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. And Last Frontier, it's okay, Mitch. I get good. So now that we know your Last Frontier, throw your first name in there so we know we can actually call you who you are. Like Golf Addict is Spanky and Scooby the Dog is Ellen. I after a couple times, I never forget their names. Sherry Morgan says, Lori and Ellen, are you tired of my music? Bombshell is 10 years old and I tried this in 2018. Christopher is here. If you ever make your way to New York, I like that. There are plenty of awesome Brazilian restaurants there. Oh, there's everything in New York. I haven't been in New York in many years. And I see Ellen is talking to Last Frontier. What I now think is many women on carnivore are eating too much protein compared to fat. You may be onto something, Ellen. It is being turned into glucose, therefore not going into ketosis. That's possible. That's possible. It may be. And some of you are telling me, like Sherry told me a little earlier in this chat, that she's getting about a 4-to-1 ratio of fat to protein. And it may very well be, which of course scares most people. We were always brought up with the almost indisputable knowledge that eating fat makes you fat. Like so many of these other dietary misconceptions, we have a hard time. It's been drilled into us so long. Low fat, low fat, low fat, low fat. We don't realize that the more fat you eat, the easier it is to lose weight. Until it's where the bathroom adventures come in. Until you start to get diarrhea all the time, you're not eating too much fat. And that's a good... So start increasing your fat until your bowels get nice and loose, and then say, okay, I'll cut back a little bit now. That's going to tell you right there, you're eating too much fat. Spanky, you watching Sherry's poll videos? I knew you were. 4-to-1 in percent. I hope not in grams. 4-to-1. No, that would be percent. 80% fat. That's in calories. That's in calories. The 80-20 is in calories. 50-50 is more of an appropriate ratio in weight. It's very confusing. It's like blood tests where half the world uses milligrams per deciliter and the other half of the world uses millimolars. And on these YouTube channels and chats, some people are using millimolars, some people are using milligrams per deciliter. You're talking about the same thing, but the numbers are wildly different. When you're talking about fat, there's two ways to talk about it: by weight or by calories. 1 ounce of fat, or 1 gram of fat rather, has 9 calories. And I don't buy into calories, but if you're going to use calories as a measure, as a comparison, then it's okay. So God, I still got a sip of coffee here. Excuse me. God, look at it. It's almost 9:30 already. Holy cow, I've still got 165 people in here tonight. Wow. Maybe Monday night is better. So we're talking about calories when you say 80-20. A gram of fat has 9 calories, a gram of protein has 4 calories. So it's a little bit more than 2 to 1. So I would say that if you were doing it by weight, 50-50, you'd be almost 75 to 80 to 20 in calories, because a gram of fat has twice plus 1 the calories of a gram of protein. About 70%. 70-30 would be about 50-50 by weight. So be careful when you do hear these numbers and somebody says you should be eating 50-50 fat to protein. They're talking about by grams. If they say 70-30, 80-20, they're talking about calories. And I thought that's what, when you said 4 to 1, that would be ridiculous for weight. That would be well over 90-10 by calories, and that would be way too much fat, I think, and not enough protein. Sherry Morgan says that's exactly what he said. 90% fat, 10% protein. Okay, so you are telling me for weight. You are? Well, that's a lot of fat, Sherry, for a skinny person like you. And as long as you're getting enough protein and you're healthy, that may be what you need. It also may be because you're so physically active that you're just burning so much more energy, and you're obviously burning fat. So we're all a little bit different. Cecilia Hale, how you doing? I love your shtick. It's good. That's good. I actually had fun doing that. I didn't mean to hurt anybody's feelings, and we're all friends now. Oh, that's a lot. That's 4,000 calories. Box Rod's telling you you're eating a lot of fat there, Sherry. Oh, Sherry says she's in medical ketosis for a reason. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Women only need like 60 grams of protein, 65, and Sherry only 1/2 ounce because she's a peanut. I wish I had found carnivore before I was 80, Cecilia says. Well, I wish I found it before I was 75, but I'd done keto so long, but keto was not allowing me to keep the weight off, unfortunately. It just wouldn't do it. It wouldn't do it. I know that I missed in going down to thank these people for their super chats. I missed a lot of the chat. I see Trucking Carnivores here. I didn't say hi to you. He had a message, says, Last Frontier, if you're not losing weight on carnivore, you may be still heading from years of a standard American. You probably need some vitamin P, as Doc Berry says. Yeah, there's vitamin P is patience. Polish Mike says, get blood work done to see if there's some of your hormones are dysregulated, especially insulin. Especially insulin. Insulin is the one you got to watch. That's the one that I would always suspect first, because that's one of its main jobs, is to lock your fat away so that it stays in your cell. Here's a question from Boxer. Does anyone ever eat hot dogs? Frankfurters are very often filled with ingredients a true carnivore should avoid. It's a double-edged sword. A lot of times hot dogs are filled with ingredients that a carnivore should eat but isn't eating, because if you look at the ingredients in a lot of hot dogs, you find there's a lot of organ meat. Hot dogs are a head to toe. There's all kinds of parts of the animal in a hot dog. There may be ears and ground up nose and feet, all kinds of stuff. Stuff that our ancestors used to eat. Organ meat, liver, heart. The first time I looked at the ingredients of hot dog and saw them actually spell out the different ingredients and all the organs that were in there, I said, there's no damn way I'm eating this crap. Come to find out, maybe the healthiest thing you can eat. It's like a multivitamin in tubular form. You just have to be careful that it doesn't have the soy either as oil or filler. And some brands of hot dogs do, and some don't. Some are cleaner. I still haven't found a hot dog that I'm satisfied, although I've had a number of people mention the names of them in the chat on some of these live streams, and I promptly forgot them. It's not that I'm really anxious to have to add hot dogs to my diet. Another thing hot dogs will have in them usually is going to be some spices that maybe carnivores might not want to eat, like garlic, things like that. Most hot dogs have some garlic in them. But I think that there's nothing wrong with a hot dog if you can find one that doesn't have filler and soy. There's certainly no grains mixed in there. And there are some of those. You have to be very careful and watch out for the preservatives and the hidden shit like natural flavorings. I take a cursory look sometimes and I end up not buying them. They're not that cheap anyway. They're not that cheap. Not anymore. But yeah, if you can find one, you're likely to get some very healthy organ meat in there, especially heart and liver. So Last Frontier says, I've done the C-peptide and I'm not resistant. Well, the C-peptide itself doesn't tell you if you're insulin resistant or not. It tells you if your pancreas is actually making insulin. That's not a common test, but the fact that you had a C-peptide test means that since it's an unusual test and not something on a standard doctor's list of annual physical blood work, you've been listening to Ken Berry. A C-peptide will tell you the same thing as a fasting insulin, but it verifies that the insulin indeed did come from your pancreas and not from an injection, because you won't elevate your C-peptide with an insulin injection. It has to be made by the pancreas, as I understand it. And again, I didn't give you my disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. I just play one on YouTube. Insulin resistance is not even a disease. It's a construct. It's a concept of what might be going on in the chemistry of the body to cause the receptors on cells to not recognize or react improperly when an insulin molecule attaches itself, not get the proper signal. Again, it's so complicated. And even people today that hang out a shingle and call themselves metabolic specialists still just, they just don't get it. They don't get it. Just like we've pretty well discovered now and I've pretty well accepted with the limited amount of information I've heard and thought that I've put into it, that cancer happens to be mostly a metabolic disorder. And that makes a lot of sense. It's cell division gone crazy is what it is. It's a metabolic disorder, and I've taken a look at Thomas Seyfried's work, and that stuff makes a lot of sense. And cancer rates seem to be increasing with the rate of metabolic disorder, which metabolic syndrome and insulin resistance are pretty much the same thing. They're just different names for a host of different things that aren't working the way they should. And yet you go out today and take a survey of 100 oncologists who are specialists in oncology, cancer doctors, and you tell them that cancer is a metabolic disease, they'll laugh their ass off at you. They'll call you a fool. They'll tell you, you don't know anything, you didn't go to medical school. Well, they're not teaching doctors this in medical school. So the medical school professors don't even know it yet. But just because they think they know something doesn't mean that it's correct. And that's why we have all the problems we have. They're still trying to blame it all on cholesterol and getting too much sunlight. And just like the amateur meteorologists running around with their cameras that seem to be doing a better job than the weathermen. Some of the amateur physiologists here on YouTube that aren't doctors and not degreed sometimes seem to get it right. Sometimes because it just simply makes sense. I don't know if anybody's got all the real answers. Oh, God. Christopher, I am 50. Let me pull this one up on the screen here. It's way down at the bottom of the chat. Here it is. Christopher, I am 50. I've been a carnivore for 3 years. It has changed my life. I wish I learned this sooner. Find it crazy that doctors cannot wrap their head around this. Starting weight, holy cow, 385. Current weight, 182. Christopher. Damn, 200 pounds. Not only have you lost a person, Christopher, you have lost a fat person. Congratulations, man. That is fabulous. Fabulous. Obviously, I don't have to tell you to keep it up. I'm glad you shared that with us. That is just great. Just great, my friend. Con, don't know you, but welcome. Somebody new. Sometimes that piece of paper on the wall is only good enough to wipe your butt with. If that. Be a little scratchy, I think. Thanks for coming. Good to see you, man. Or woman. I don't know what it is. Con. Aunt B is here. Hi, Aunt B. How you doing? Aunt B got here and said hi to virtually everybody at one time. Wow. B, that's a lot of typing right there. And you're very welcome, Christopher. You're very well. You deserve it, man. You deserve it. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's why I have that cheering crowd, just for guys like you. I don't use it all the time, but I know when it's appropriate. Everybody thinks so too. You got to be proud of that. I'd love to see some before and after pictures. If you got some, email them to me at oldguycarnivore@gmail.com. I'm going to have a webpage pretty soon. Going to have a webpage pretty soon with some of the followers that we have here on the channel. I have 4 or 5 sets of pictures now that blow your mind. Blow your mind. And Ellen, who knows a lot of shit. Ellen is a very, very smart and well-read lady. And she comes up with stuff like this that I don't know, which is cool. Doug Wallace is the father of mitochondrial disease and should win a Nobel Prize, but won't, because it's all about the genetic model in the medical cartel. You are absolutely right. And what we know, interestingly enough, Ellen, I don't know if you've ever done any reading or studying about the field of epigenetics. Do you know what that is? Turns out epigenetics are almost more influential on the outcomes of physiology than the genetics themselves. The genetics are basically a database of instructions to build proteins. And the epigenetics are the instructions, I'll call them that actually cause particular genes to be unwoven out of the chromosome, stretched out so that they can be expressed, they can be transcribed. Because if they're not unpacked first, they can't be transcribed. They're all bunched up and folded up in a chromosome. And it's the epigenetics and some of the studies they're doing on epigenetics and the way that they're passed from generation to generation almost has nothing to do with the genes themselves. And it's a combination of the genetics and the epigenetics that account for the differences in us and most of our ability to adapt to things. Because if there wasn't some other force at work, we would have no instinctual knowledge when we were born. We would have exactly a 50-50 mix of our parents' genetics with no change. And we'd never, on a genetic level, we'd never learn anything new. We never learn anything new. Everything would be written in stone at our birth. But the way the epigenetics cause the genes to be transcribed and expressed makes up the differences. So there's learning there that changes over a lifetime of experience of an organism. And it's the reason why deer don't want to be friends with lions. That doesn't come from a gene and a chromosome. It comes from someplace else. I've been always been curious about that. It's very complicated, and the way it works is cool. It's the cool when you read about the chemistry of epigenetics with the histones that wrap around the chromosomes and methylation and the way that I can almost start to understand it. It's an entire field of study. But thank you for that, Ellen. MM is here. Good to see you, MM. Julie Mortensen, how you doing? Yay, Christopher. Everybody's saying what a good job you did. 200 pounds, man. Wow. Wow. And of course, Aunt B says hello to everybody. Who's this? Amboy Carnivore. Hi, Mitch. Well, hi, Amboy. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Christopher says, it's my first time doing a live chat. Yeah, I know that, Christopher. I don't recognize you. I'm not greatest with names, but I do remember if I've seen a name before. And when I find out somebody's name, after a few times, it will get cemented in my mind, and I will remember it. So I can usually tell who hasn't been here before. But good to see you, man. That's great. And anybody, I mean, you've got to know something to have done that, and we may end up picking your brain a little bit. Christopher, yay. Scoob Ellen says, you lost one of me and one of Sherry Morgan. 2 whole people. That's true. That's true, isn't it? That's great. Sherry's got a question. Anyway, we're going to twist your arm to have your live stream tomorrow, too. Oh, my God. Sherry, you think? So, listen, somebody's going to have to piss me off so I can go through another one of those things I did tonight, because I think that was the highlight of the live stream. Don't be surprised. We'll see. If this storm slowed down and it's going to take an extra day to get here, then I may be bored like hell tomorrow night. Not, yeah, hell yeah. I love doing these things. I love to. I have no life anymore. I don't do anything other than carnivore and YouTube talking about carnivore. That sounds like it might be very boring and unfulfilling, but it isn't. It isn't. I don't think I'm going to be able to do the private community live stream. And the problem we had last week where I couldn't get the chat to work when I made it a private community only, I haven't tested that again. So if you guys see a test live stream that just has pretty much no thumbnail, the word test on it, and it says private community, that's just me trying to make sure the chat will work. You'll all probably pile in like you do, and I'll end up doing 2 hours on that. But I need to see if it's going to work, but I can't check it out unless I actually make it private community only, which means it's going to show up in your feeds. Ellen, LOL. I know a little bit about a lot of things. Yes, Ellen, I identify with that. I identify with that. Some people tell me I'm a jack of all trades, master of none, which I think is a not so nice way of saying the same thing. But I've mastered a few things in my life. Mastered a few things. I make fun of myself. I don't know if you notice this. I call myself names. I call myself some bald-headed old fart. I don't know if I have an ego. I'm proud of myself, but I'm not egotistical, I don't think. And I don't think I come off as egotistical. But I am accomplished. See, I do know that. I talk about the fact that I'm uneducated in a traditional sense. I don't have college degrees. I haven't sat through 10 years of medical school to be able to take exams and get a degree based on misinformation that was taught to me by a medical school owned by the Seventh-day Adventists and the food companies and the drug companies. Everything I've ever learned in my life, except for how to fly an airplane. I did have a flight instructor for that. But everything else I've ever learned in my life, whether it was computer programming, construction, computer networking, I learned it quicker on my own and better than I could have learned it in an institution of some kind. And I may not have a college degree, but I have a wall full of credentials in fields that people could only dream of. I hold a Class A general contractor's license, which is the highest contractor's license you can get in the state of Florida. I am qualified to build skyscrapers and bridges with that contractor's license. I hold a commercial pilot's rating, instrument rating, multi-engine rating, flight instructor rating, instrument flight instructor rating. In computers and networking, I'm a certified network engineer. I have more industry certifications in computer hardware and networking infrastructure, and my company wired up schools and did all that stuff. Every field I've ever been in, I always managed to get credentialed at the highest level in that field. And yet, I don't have a Bachelor of Arts degree where I learned Spanish and English literature. So people look at me and say, well, Mitch, you didn't go to college. You can't be smart. The smartest people in the world, the Elon Musks. Even Bill Gates never went to college. All the all the guys that are at the top of their field, except Zuckerberg. I think he went to college. So many of them struck out on their own because they realized that the teachers that were teaching them whatever they were teaching in college really didn't know what they were doing. There's an old saying. I heard it a long time ago, and it goes like this. And if there's any teachers out there, I hope this doesn't insult you, because I do have respect for teachers, especially the teachers that teach the little kids, because I don't know how you put up with those little bastards. But it says, them that can do, them that can't teach. Think about that. Them that can do and them that can't teach. And in a lot of cases, there's a lot of truth to that. A lot of people who try to be successful in a particular field and just can't do it become teachers. They become teachers in that field. Carnivore Joy, how you doing? Carnivore Joy says to me, where is it? There it is. Carnivore Joy says, where's Mitch located? I'm in Melbourne, Florida. I mean, you can tell where I live because just find yourself a weather map with the cone. Okay? The cone. And in that weather map, there's a center line that shows you right where the storm they think it's going to go. And follow that center line all the way across Florida until you almost get to the Atlantic Ocean. And then put a red dot right there before the Atlantic Ocean, a few miles inland. And that's my house. Seriously, I think I'm kidding. I'm surprised it didn't have a target signal on the chart. Here's the cone of uncertainty, and there's the projected center line by the NOAA, the federal government, and there, what looks like a rifle sight target is Mitch's house. I got to tell you, my friends, sometimes it just seems like that. It seems that way. It seems that that's what they do. Seems that's what they do. Drew Furstenberger, how you doing, boy? That is a long last name. Up near St. Augustine, you will have some concerning weather because you're going to be in that upper right quadrant of the storm. You're going to get those feeder bands. Batten the hatches, man. The good news is that it won't be a Cat 5 over there. It'll probably be down to a Cat 1. And remember, when they tell you the wind speed in a hurricane, they're talking about in the eye wall. As soon as you get away from the eye wall, it generally slows down. Generally, in a Cat 1 storm with what they say are 80-mile-an-hour winds, we usually see 50 to 60. And maybe some gusts a little higher. So, and if any of you think that a 60-mile-an-hour wind is something to sneeze at, I'm here to tell you it's not. I'll tell you why in a minute. DS111, can you scroll up to my previous? Yeah, I never really did a big search for QQQs tonight. Got sidetracked. How far up is it? How far up is it? Well, I'll search for it here. I will search for you. DS111. Okay, DSI question. Is it true that when someone is not eating enough, you can detect that on their breath? My teenage daughter has lousy eating habits, and a boy broke up, so now her breath smells different to me. Wow. Well, there's a number of things that can cause bad breath. A lot of things. Very common one is actually being in ketosis, which is not something that's going to be bad. Gum disease can cause bad breath. The standard American diet, in a lot of cases, can cause your teeth to rot. So it could be a lot of things. I have no idea what might cause it. Not eating enough. I can't help you with that. I can't help you with. Is that the question that you wanted me to find? Or was there another one? Let me look and see if I found another one. I can't help you with that one. I think Woody Allen said, those who can teach, those who can't teach, teach Jim. That's just, yeah. I think, yeah, I like Woody Allen. I think that's another way of saying the same thing. God, DS111, you are all over the chat. Yeah, that was the one, because that was the previous one to the last comment you made. Drew Furstenberger says, I've had bad breath early in ketosis, but it usually goes away. Well, it does. And that's for the same reason I think that the keto strips that you pee on stop turning purple. You'll only have bad breath when you're actually making too many ketones, and that generally happens when you first start going into ketosis after years of not. And your body learns to regulate it, not make more than it needs. And pretty soon, you don't see it in your urine anymore. And it doesn't come out in your breath, because that's excess ketones. And that's how your body expels them if it can't use them. You breathe them out or you pee them out. But like so many other things, like gluconeogenesis that makes glucose for us, pretty soon, your brain, your subconscious learns to more tightly regulate those things and not make excess. Why make any excess of something you don't need? And after a couple weeks, the bad breath should go away. At least that's what I hear in most people's experience. And if that isn't the real reason, then that's my theory. Because I don't think we've done many randomized double-blind control studies on keto breath. Spanky says he was a close stalker, which made it much worse. There's always a Seinfeld reference in there somewhere. DS111 says, can a carb addict like my daughter ever get into ketosis? Not if she eats too many carbs. It won't happen. Generally, you become a sugar burner if you eat nothing but carbs. If you eat the standard American diet, 70% of your calories every day from carbohydrates, ketosis is going to be the last thing your body ever gets to. That's where the 20 grams of carbs come in for a keto diet, and either a blood test to measure ketone levels or the urinary sticks when you first start out. You got to get rid of the sugar. That's why carnivore is so easy. You don't have to measure that stuff. You don't have to ration it out. And it lets you get rid of the carb addiction. It's the only thing I've ever found. So, it's 10 o'clock, guys. Coming up on 10 o'clock. I'm going to be staying up myself till 11 because I do want to see the 11 o'clock update to the storm report, to the cone, although it's still way too early. But I know I'll sleep better if I see something shift a little bit towards the way I want it to shift. Could mean nothing. But we watch those things like a hawk. We watch them like a hawk. Because we're worried. We're worried. I know there are people out there much more worried than I am. And I feel for all of you. And it's going to be very inconvenient for some time in the future. Something like this can end up with ramifications that change the basic way that we live in the future. How much longer are we going to be able to continue to buy homeowners insurance in Florida if they keep having to pay out these enormous sums of money And even if it was available, my homeowner's insurance has doubled in the last 3 years. How long are we going to be able to afford it? And if we can't afford to buy the house and get a mortgage, because to get a mortgage, you must have proof of insurance. And if you can't afford the insurance, you won't get the mortgage. And if you can't get the mortgage, you won't buy the house. What's this going to do to the American dream of being a homeowner? Things can get out of hand so easily because everything that happens always has some effect on everything else that's tied to it in any way. So we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. And right now, I just hope nobody's stupid. Nobody risks, believe me, if I lived on the west coast of Florida, there's no way I would be considering staying home through a 20-foot storm surge. My biggest decision I have to make here is is it bad enough to cause structural damage to my house? And if I think it's going to be, then I go to my son's house. That's about it. That's all I have to decide. And wait it out in my son's house and come home and see if I still got a house left. And believe me, I've done that a few times already. And I can tell you the sense of relief when I pulled around the corner and saw my house untouched was unlike anything you can describe, because the way your mind just goes crazy in pictures. Pictures things when you just don't know. When you just don't know. So listen, my friends, if I show up tomorrow night, I know at least Sherry will be here. And if I do show up again tomorrow night, come and join us. Come and join us. I enjoyed this tonight. It was great diversion for me. Had a really nice crowd. I hope you all enjoyed it too. I see everybody saying good night. I got a little traveling music. There we are. And it is after 10 o'clock. Wow, wow, wow. CB, I didn't see you there before. How you doing, my friend? At least I got to say good night to you. Drew Furstenberger, good night, my friend. Spanky. Bob Keller, good night to you too. DS111, good night. Sleep safely. I think tonight I'll be fine. I haven't got much sleep the last 2 nights. I think I'm going to sleep fine tonight. And Ellen says good night. And Mark Booze says good night. Mama Cracker Patty says good night. So it's been great having you over. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I did. I know I'm going to be making my morning videos. Even if I'm at my son's house, I will figure out a way to record one of them and get it up. I enjoy those. So I will see you tomorrow morning. And until then, my friends, take the rest of the day off and eat meat.